That's what I meant to say, is if you have a chair handy, you can take that. We'll be doing some forward bends, not absolutely necessary, just an extra support. So we'll begin in our seated position. I'll just say my usual, which is if you have technical problems hearing me, then just unmute yourself and let me know, and I will speak more clearly and slowly. And hopefully I'm not too loud at any point. I'm just trying to project. So hopefully that's cool with everybody. And what other technical things? What do I usually say? Oh, anything I say is a suggestion. I'm going to try to give alternatives to some of our poses today, so that if you are just not feeling it, you have some other options that are as beneficial. So let's make sure we're seated on the edge of a blanket with the pelvis spilling slightly forward. And we can come together, closing the eyes to cut out the distractions to begin the practice together. We'll be moving and breathing, but let's come together, noticing the breath, feeling the breath travel through the body and noticing how it travels through the body without judging. Briefly in your mind's eye, let's take a trip along the spine. So let's start at our tailbone, which is in between the two sits bones, our anchor to the earth here in this pose. And then you're going to travel up the spine in your mind's eye. There's so many beautiful intricacies of the spine, past the lumbar curve, on up towards our mid-back and the shoulder blades rolling down the back towards the hips. And then you'll travel in between the shoulder blades. And then you'll have a transition to the cervical spine towards the neck. And there's a nice curve in the neck. And the shoulders are in line with the ears, rolling away from the shoulders. Hands are on the thighs dropping down, feeling a sense of rooting down, but being able to rise up, coming through that vision again of the spine, coming up towards the skull. So the spine ends inside the skull, and then our skull being part of our network as well. Let's reach through the crown of the head, feeling taller already. Now that you're in this beautifully aligned position, just take a deep breath into the belly, expand the rib cage, feel it all the way up to your collarbones. Exhale, using the abdominals to squeeze that air out, allowing the bellows of the diaphragm, the rib cage, to support your breath. And then begin to flutter your eyes open, and we'll take a little relief for the neck here to begin with. We'll come back to our seated position later, but let's just do some neck turns so we know we're set up for our standing positions. Take a right turn with your chin. I'm gonna look like an opposite of you, so you can just follow my instructions, not necessarily my directions here. Take a right turn with your chin towards your right shoulder. Inhale through center, exhale, go to the other side, left turn with the chin on a gentle, natural horizon line over the left shoulder. Come in through center. Let's take another turn, just making sure we're getting a new sense of our capabilities here. Coming through center and then turning to the left. Come back to center, gaze forward, and then bring the gaze up slightly. So imagine a hand behind your heart, helping you into a slight back bend for the mid and upper back. Exhale, let's bring the chin down in between the collarbones. So just tuck the chin in, forehead Looking down, eyes gaze down at the heart. Inhale your chin back up to center. Great. And then I'll take your choice of whatever way you want to get up. We'll have other ways to get up and down later, but let's just come to a standing position to get our practice started. Take that blanket to the side, and we'll stand in a wider mountain pose to begin with. Check our camera here. So we're gonna try to explore some of those vayus. These are winds of energy through the body. They kind of feed our vital force, heart, all the way from the pelvis, all the way up to the crown of the head. And the practice today will be just traveling through all of those. And we're dealing with the energy around us when we breathe. So not just breathing from the up and down energies, but like outward, a full circle, you know, like a dance, if you will, around you. So we're going to start working those energies by taking the feet a little wider than hip width. And as we make these rotations, make sure your feet follow you and you're not straining your knees at all. So we're just going to begin by turning side to side in these rotations that are windmilling the arms and the hands side to side. And the head will follow over your shoulder as you swing back and forth. It should be kind of fun and energizing. This is a real basic Qigong pose action here. And again, try not to lock your knees, let them swing with you. You can allow your one hand to strike the back of the rib cage, and then the other hand to strike the shoulder in the front. So no strain, don't try to do this, but if it happens to happen, that's great. It'll wake up some energy points. And then you can slow those rotations down, just take it gradually back to standing in mountain pose. And close the eyes, inhale, exhale, notice any changes of the energy through the body. And then open the eyes, and we'll take a wider stance. So we're going to take the toes pointing outward at whatever angle is comfortable for you. If your knees, we want to make sure when we bend the knees later that the knees are going over your toes and nice in line with the middle toes. So just try to keep that comfortable alignment as you face forward long ways on your mat. And we're going to use our hands to sense the energy around us. So just imagine a ball of energy, and this is in your chi point, so the strongest energy point, which is just below the navel. So just imagine that energy ball, and you can put your hands out and kind of imagine that in your hands. Inhale, and then we're going to move that energy ball upward towards the heart. Inhale, as you do that, inhale, exhale, let's move the energy ball down again, so you can even push with the hands. We'll inhale again, bring that energy up, and exhale, move it down. And be easy through the feet and the legs here. Inhale, let's bring that energy up. And now we'll stop at the heart, and we're going to take the palms outward in front of you, and exhale, reach outward towards in front of you, reaching the energy out, and then coming back in, inhaling towards the heart. And now we're going to go out to the sides with the palms. So exhale outward, imagining pushing energy out or just kind of feeling that extended energy. And then bring it back to that energy ball towards the heart. And then move that energy down again towards the lower points in the body. Excellent. So let's bring that up again through an inhale, up to the heart, and then push out in front of you. And then bring it back to the heart. Inhale, exhale, push it out beside you. And then let's pull it back in towards the heart and then pressing down. Great. This time we'll bend the knees. So we're going to come into a high squat with this position, getting some toning through the hips, through the legs. So inhale, let's bring that energy up towards the heart. Exhale, as you bend the knees, drop the pelvis towards the floor. So those sits bones and tailbone reaching down, bring that energy down like we were doing. And then it's actually physically moving that midpoint down. And then inhale, back up and straighten the knees. And now we're going to send the energy out, keep the knees straight, outward in front of you, and back towards the heart, and then outward. And then bring it back to the heart. And you guessed it, we're going to bend the knees and press that energy down. Full sense of grounding there. And again, dropping that tailbone. Inhale back up to the heart. And this time when you push out in front of you, bend the knees again into that plie, if you will, or squat. And then bring it back towards the heart. Straighten the legs. Now bend the knees and then push outward horizontally, reaching out, and then gather that energy back towards the heart as you straighten the legs. And then our last go, we'll just bend the knees and push that energy down. And you can do this with your eyes closed and just repeat the sequence, kind of getting a sense of that imaginary energy that you're just becoming aware of around you. Whatever energy you want to bring to yourself with this sequence, setting your intention. Excellent. Okay, bring the feet together, heel toe, heel toe. I'm gonna just shake that energy out. And then I want to just also get the alignment with the tailbone reaching down. Take the right hand to the belly and the left hand to the lower back. So stand in about hip width apart, your feet about hip width apart, and definitely feel that lower back curve. So we're always wanting that natural curve. And then the pelvis slightly tilted forward, but it's not too far forward, so you're spilling over, but the tailbone is allowed to reach down. So there's a nice balanced midpoint between just completely spilling forward into an arched back, and then that tailbone reaching down. That's a nice supported stance. Let's take the hands to the lower ribs. And then while you're doing this, shine the heart forward and kind of that radiating energy from your amazing hearts. And then let's try to tuck the low ribs in a little bit. Feel that in your hands. So you can expand and breathe easily, but your low ribs are tucked in and your heart's shining forward, so that broadens the chest, but activates your the transverse abdominis, deep abdominals. We'll be working with those today. So now I'd like you to come to the top of your mat, and we're going to come down through mountain, and we're going to take some lunges. So if you like to have the blanket handy for your knees, if you're going to want your knees on the floor, then have that handy. Or you cannot go down to the knees, but you'll know what I'm talking about when we get there. So let's come to the top of the mat in mountain pose. Again, remember the hands on your belly and your back. So let's come to that alignment. Inhale, exhale, sweep the arms over the head. So we're feeling a nice long side bodies. Reach up with the right and then reach up with the left. So each side of the body gets an extra expansion here before we go down to the floor. I forgot to tell you that if you need blocks handy, so let's sweep those arms down. And if you want, I'm just going to demonstrate. I'm putting 2 blocks here in case I want my hands on something in a forward bend. So we'll just have them there. Okay, sorry about that. Come back to mountain pose. Sweep the arms up above the head. Another beautiful lengthening here, and then swan dive the arms out around you, and we're gonna hinge at the hips. If you wanna bend your knees, that's okay. We'll just hinge at the hips and bring the hands down to those blocks or your shins with a flat back to begin with. So reaching through the crown of the head and reaching through the sits bones. So you're lengthening out here. And no force, so you can, again, bend the knees if you need to. This is early in the practice. And then we'll let go and just take a nice forward bend that will support a release of the neck. The crown of the head reaches towards the earth, and you can just release that neck momentarily, exhaling all of the tension out. Inhale to a flat back again. And we're in mountain pose, so we're going to take our fingertips to the floor, bend the knees, take the hands or the fingertips to the floor, and we're going to slide back into a lunge. The left leg's going to go back first. So let's take the left foot behind us, lengthen out, and we're going to take a low lunge. You can put the left knee on the floor, and then flip the foot so that the top of the foot's on the floor. So now you're in a supported low lunge, or you can keep those toes curled under in the back and reach through the heel, through all the way to the crown of the head, and noticing that length there from the back foot all the way to the crown of the head. Nice and long. Again, stay on that knee. If you have any lower back issues or knee issues, just stay there on the knee. Reach through. Nice low lunge here. And then with your support, either blocks, your core, tiptoe the left foot forward, back into our forward bend. And we'll go to the other side. So take your right foot and slide it back, lengthen out that leg, low lunge. You can use your blocks to support your hands, whatever you choose. Reach through that back heel and reach through the crown of the head. The long muscles, the quadratus lumborum, psoas, these connectors between our torso and our legs, getting a nice stretch here, reaching long. I want to remind you as well, if you can bring your feet energetically together, you'll feel your core wake up and that midline of your body will become activated. Take your time to settle through the feet, reaching long, and then tiptoe that right foot forward or lift it completely back up to forward bend. And then we'll take a hinge at the hips, float up into a flat back, and then you can either bend at the knees or straighten the legs as you come up to mountain pose. So we're doing an echo of a sun salutation. So we're coming up and down, which again activates all of those vital forces. Inhale, swan dive, sweep the arms above the head, and then swan dive down to that forward bend again. Great. And then we're going to take the left foot back again, just tiptoe that back or reach back. And please place the knee on the ground or on a blanket if you need to. So I'm giving you two alternatives here, which is to put your knee down to come to a high lunge or to curl your toes under. So I'll show on this side, I'll show the knee up option. So now I want you to take your hands to your front thigh, reach through the crown of the head, energetically bring your feet together, and then float on up to to vertical in the torso. So your front knee is tracking over the two toes, reaching that heel back behind you, and we're coming into a high lunge. Reach the hands up towards the sky. Press the feet together energetically. Sweep the hands down around that front foot, back to low lunge. And then we'll tiptoe our left foot forward into our forward bend. And then inhale, exhale, and we'll take the right foot back. I will demonstrate the knee on the ground version on this side. So I'm going to flip that back foot, keep my knee down, I'm in low lunge. And then I'm going to come into a high lunge, taking the palms to the front thigh. I'm going to actually curl the back toes under with my knee down. And then I'm going to reach my hands above the head. So my knee is supported underneath me on the blanket, the top of the knee, not the kneecap. Inhale, crown of the head up. Exhale, sweep the arms down around that front foot. And then curl the back toes under and bring yourself back to a forward bend. If you have lower back issues, definitely keep the knees bent because that will support you as we go along here. And then take the hands to the hips, come up to a flat back, slowly, slowly make yourself, bring yourself up to standing and go to the back of your mat. Take the blocks to the side, maybe move that blanket off to the side for a moment. We're going to work ourselves down to downward dog, but we're going to go from the back of the mat. So nice, beautiful mountain pose at the back of the mat. Sweep the arms above the head. And then swan dive down, bending at the hips. And then whatever your choice of forward bend is, hang the head down and relax the neck. Inhale into the back of your body. Expand that breath and then exhale. We're going to walk the hands out to a downward dog, so towards the top of the mat. And then you can bend your knees, keep your feet hip width apart, and reach the sits bones. You can bend the knees, rib cage to the thighs, and then reach out your sits bones towards the back of the room. And now you can begin to pedal your heels down towards the floor. But don't force anything, just reach the heels out, bend the knees. Imagine wrapping your armpits towards the rib cage. So you're really activating the strength of your shoulders as you stretch your hamstrings. Now bend both knees, bring the rib cage to the thighs, and then you can start to straighten both legs. Inhale into that full body. Exhale. Beautiful. And then bend the knees, and we're going to come to all fours. So if you bend both knees and bring them just towards the mat, land very softly on the mat, and then adjust yourself so that we can have a little session on all fours with the support of a blanket. I'll bring the camera closer so you can see me better. Actually, Huck's bringing the camera closer. Thank you. So we've transitioned from downward dog into all fours. And we'll take the hands and open them up through the fingertips. So really open up those energy channels through each finger, pressing especially on the index finger and the thumb. So you got a nice strong muscle there to keep you supported. Wrap the armpits towards the rib cage. And let's make sure that the feet are about, the knees are hip width apart, okay? And now I know you've come into cat-cow before, everybody in this class, so let's tuck that tailbone towards the earth and then reach the long spine towards the sky. And start to connect with that upper energy points, the back of the body, inhaling through that arc of the back, and then exhaling, the tailbone comes up towards the sky, ripple the spine up towards the skull, and then look up. At the very final moment, then begin at the tailbone again and curl that C curve of the lower spine. Then lift the rib cage up towards the sky, drop the head, etc. So just let's take your cat-cow, feeding your breath, feeding the entire movement with this breath and imagine the breath in all directions around you. Tap into the sound of your breath as your music, as your rhythm. If you don't have music in the background, allow your breath to be that sound track for you. Come back to a neutral spine and we'll do a side to side action. So our tail wagging back and forth while the head is reaching towards the hips. So the spine is making a C, and that includes your head as well. So you want to look down while you do this. You can look back at the tail, but essentially I'd really just like the spine to be on that plane of back and forth. And then you can come back to a neutral spine, and now you can do whatever movements come to you in your spine. Like listen into your spine and all of the system around it and just see what you need right now, whether it's moving, wiggling, or bending your elbows, whatever you need. And when you're ready, come back to all fours and we'll take a supported low lunge from this position. So take that nice neutral stance, wrap those armpits so you're nice and strong. With the strength of your core, we're going to bring the right foot forward, draw the right knee towards the right armpit, place that knee next to the right hand on the inside. So again, we're going to come up into a low lunge. Well, we're in a low lunge, but we're coming into a supported low lunge. So we're going to press through the back shin and the front foot. Take the right hand, take the hand to the right thigh, both hands. And then reach the crown of the head upward. Drop the tailbone. When you drop the tailbone, you'll notice the quad on the left side will really start to expand, and those connections will be very clear. Bring the right foot towards the back shin. And then reach the arms overhead. Drop the right hand towards the right hip. So just drop that hand and then lean over towards your right with the support of both those legs, keeping your foundation and allowing you some flexibility here on top. And then come on back up, supported by your breath. Sweep the arms down around your right foot. And then draw that right knee back to all fours. Inhale, and we'll take the left knee towards the left armpit and the left foot on the inside of the left hand. Get your foundation between that back shin and front foot. Feeling that hip gliding into place. Take our palms to the front thigh, lift on up, and then check in with the hip bones that they're facing forward before you inhale your arms up towards the sky. Drop that tailbone and feel the long muscles supporting the legs and the torso on the right side, stretching out. Exhale, drop the left hand towards the left hip and then lean over to your left. Extra length happening here through that right side body. And then sweep the arms up again. And then windmill them back down towards the right foot. And then we'll come back to all fours. Open the knees slightly as we move towards child's pose. So that's the hips coming back to the heels. And take your forehead to the mat and just relax there with the breath. the third eye, allowing that lots of thoughts that collect, and the third eye being the master point of those functions. Let's just let that relax. Not thinking about outcomes or what came before, but just let it all go. If you can, breathe into all sides of the body, all of those activated places that we've just moved around. And now slide the hips side to side. And then use your strength in the core to come back up to all fours. And we're going to do a slight back bend here. So take the knees back a few inches, evenly aligned. And we're going to come forward with the torso towards a knee plank. So we're going to activate the core, press through the hands, lean those hips forward, and then you're going to make a plank as you engage the glutes, about 25% there. Reach through the crown of the head. You're a diagonal plank. If you're really powering on and you want to come up to a full plank, go for it. But we're going to come from our knees. That's still quite a nice core workout. Inhale, exhale, and then come back to child's pose. So push it back to child's pose. Touch down briefly on the forehead, and then inhale back up to knee plank. Reaching the hips, lengthening the body, noticing your skull aligned with your sacrum, reaching that out. Now, if you have any issues with if any of this hurts your lower back, you can stay in knee plank and just come backwards and forward between child's and knee plank. But let's begin. If you are available for this, you can begin to drop the pelvic bone towards the earth. So you're coming into a high cobra. The heart is going to look forward. If the heart had eyes, they'd be looking forward. And you're just hanging the pelvis down, relieving the lower back. If this is not relief for the lower back, just go back to the plank and child's pose. And then the shoulders roll away from the ears. And then push back to the knee plank, and then all the way back to child's. And then touch down briefly with your forehead, float back up, knee plank. And then drop the pelvis, snake the spine down towards the earth. So nice and fluid. Spend a moment there with your heart shining and opening forward, and then slide back to plank and then to child. If any of this has any hurt, if you're hurting your knees at all, you can just flip over onto your back and do some bridging, things like that. But this should be a nice toning for your core. So come back to the plank and then hang the pelvis, high cobra. One more rotation back and forth. Coming back to child's pose. Slide the hips side to side one more time. And then we'll transition to our seated position. So let's sit up on the edge of a blanket, and we're doing this in a bit different order than usual. But this, we come back to our neck. So let's take that seated position, take the fingertips to the side, reach through the crown of the head. Now we've got much more fluidity in the spine. Inhale tall, grow half an inch taller. Take your right ear towards your right shoulder, pressing through the left fingertips. Noticing we're very much more in touch with the breath. So inhale, and the left ear will come towards the sky, maybe just energetically. Exhale, release the right ear towards the right shoulder. And then if you can take your right hand to your right ear, you could help yourself back up to seated, the crown of the head reaching towards the sky. Inhale, exhale, left ear toward left shoulder. Press through the right fingertips. And then we'll inhale and kind of feel that right ear reaching up towards the sky, and then exhaling, releasing the left ear towards the left shoulder. Take the left hand to the left ear, help yourself back up to a gaze forward position. And then we'll reach the palms towards the sky and reach up again skyward, steeple hands. Index finger forward, and we'll sway side to side like a tree, palm tree in the wind. Sway back and forth, anchoring through the trunk of your sits bones. Great, and then we'll take our hands into cactus position. So open the hands, feeling all that directionals through every finger. It's kind of so magical, all the directions we can energetically send out, and then just have the hands open and close for all of our typing hands. Give a little relief. Great, and let's close the curtains of the forearms. So let's close those in front of our face, and then open the palms to look at them like a book, and then reach the elbow creases towards the sky until your limit, and then open up those curtains again. Shine the heart, hands forward, and then bring that back down towards the rib cage, elbows to rib cage. And then bring the forearms together fluidly here, back in front of the face, the book in front of the face, and then elbows to the sky, open up, and then bring it back down to the rib cage. So we're really gliding through the shoulder socket here, and then together, our lovely open book, and then up towards the sky. Nice fluid relief to the hands and to the shoulders. And then we'll take our wrists, just because we don't want to forget those lovely joints in there. Let's take the wrists, and we'll take faucets and go back and forth. And then let's do our nice princess or prince wave. And then reach up towards the sky. Hallelujah. Just imagine a wonderful thing happening. Hallelujah. Okay, and then bring ourselves back to earth. And we're going to come up through, we're actually going to do a balance now, but we're going to come up to standing through chair pose. So come to all fours, and what we'll do is curl the back toes under and bring the hips towards the heels. Press back with the hands towards the back of the mat. Keep your feet hip width apart. And then you're going to lift up with the rib cage on the thighs. Okay, so come more into the camera here. And then we're going to trace the floor with our fingers and reach the arms behind you. So see if you can reach behind you, activating your triceps, your hands facing each other, okay? As if you were jumping down a ski jump. And then sweep the arms down towards the earth, up next to the ears, and then lift the rib cage off the thighs, reaching through the tailbone into chair pose. You're sitting in an imaginary chair. Sit it through that chair. Feel the stepping into all the points of the foot, and then stand down strong as you come up to stand again. Awesome job. Want to get us into a balancing pose here before we stretch further. Let's come into an eagle pose. So some of you, we've done a lot of eagle arms sitting down. Let's try our balance here. Inhale, exhale, root down through those feet. Feel that tower of power. Your legs, your hips, all supporting your tall spine. And then you're going to take your right foot over the left, so trace in front of the left toes. And let's kickstand yourself with the curled right toes and the knees are aligned kind of in front of each other. Okay, so we're just going to take this first with the legs. You can see I'm aligned like this. Nothing crazy, but if you do know a further advanced eagle pose, feel free to take that. We're going to hinge at the hips and sit back on that imaginary chair like we just were. But the knees, the shins are pulling together, knees pulling together. That energy point in the middle, truly activated here, so you feel that bend. And then come on back up, straighten the legs. Now before we go down again, let's take the arms out to a T. So make sure you're strong through that, especially that left leg, and then sweep the right arm under the left. Okay, you can have the backs of your hands together, or you can have the palms together, reaching together and pressing into that energy point in the middle as you sit your sits bones back. And you can even lift the right foot off the floor if you'd like to. Just sit back and explore the balance. And the shoulders you want to have the shoulders pulling, the shoulder blades pulling towards each other. So you're supporting that shoulder complex. Reach to the crown of the head. And then straighten out the legs and come on up. Open up the arms, and we'll try the other side. So take stand down strong through the right foot and the right leg. That tower, not collapsing, but standing strong. Trace in front of the right toes with the left toes. Kickstand the left foot on the side. Hands to the hips and hinge at those hips as you sit the sits bones back, pulling that midline into focus. And then come on back up. Keep your foot kickstanded or wrapped around as you open up to T arms, and then bring the left arm under the right. And then press into that midline, whatever's comfortable for you. And then sit on back and check the balance. See if you can maybe lift the left foot off the ground. Eagle pose. Inhale, exhale. Float on back up to standing, sweep it out. Try this on each side again, whatever's comfortable for you, without the arms, with the arms, but I want you to be confident that even if you have to test your balance and your vital force, that you can stand back. So let's reinforce the fact that you can stay centered even as you test that center. So right leg over left, and then right arm under left. So the right leg is over the left, and the right arm is underneath on that side. Just testing your balance. And then stand strong as you switch sides. Just to remind you, it's the left foot over the left leg over the right leg, and the left arm under the right arm. When you're ready, come back up to standing, shake out your legs, and we'll sit once again through our imaginary chair. Come to the top of your mat. Stand strong in mountain pose. I know you guys all feel stronger now. Inhale, arms up. And what we'll do is bend backwards, sitting in that imaginary chair, this time keeping the arms next to the ears. And then reaching out long, so feel your whole torso super long as you ground through the feet, but at the same time, reach the sits bones back toward that chair. And this time we're going to sweep the arms out, swan dive down towards a forward bend, keep the knees bent, and then bring the sits bones back down to earth, landing back down with your soles of the feet on the floor and your knees bent, sitting up. Thank you for the camera work here. On our way down, we're going to come into practicing boat pose. So take the hands behind the thighs and make sure you roll the shoulders away from the ears and roll those shoulder blades down the back. So keep that nice aligned skull to sacrum alignment. That's really important in boat pose, more than hunching forward, right? That's not really going to get your transverse abdominis very activated. So we want to keep that open. And then lift one leg up or one foot up off the floor. See about how that feels to keep that integrity. If you want to lift both legs off both feet off the floor with bent legs, you see I probably start to roll back, but keep that nice alignment. Again, if you have any lower back issues, just roll back and go into bridge. And then you maybe straighten out your legs. Maybe instead of straightening the legs, you can do another formula, which is to just let go of the hands and open them up. Long arms, playing with whatever your limits are and accepting them, all the while opening that heart space. And now take the hands to the back of the thighs and just lengthen out the legs, lengthen out the crown of the head, and slowly come down to the mat. And we'll take our soles of the feet together and bring the knees towards the chest as you also grab for your ankles. And bring the soles of the feet together. And then the outsides of those feet are going to come down to the floor, if that's comfortable for you, in a reclined cobbler's pose. Let's sway the knees in a kind of a butterfly fashion, side to side, if that works for you. The sacrum is on the mat and you have a nice curve in the lower spine again. So nice. And then take the hands, support the knees and close the knees. And then we'll take our figure 4. Inhale the left knee towards the chest. Take the left ankle over the right thigh. And let's hold on. Actually, we'll just kind of reach for the thigh today instead of going through that whole long sequence. We'll just reach for the back of the right thigh. Activate both your feet to protect the knees. We're getting into the piriformis here. Inhale and exhale. Activate your sacrum. Make sure it's very aware and implanted on the mat. If you want to throw in a hamstring stretch, you can take the right foot towards the ceiling and have a long right leg. Slide the hand down the leg and then see if you can press the right thigh into the hands, the clasped hands. And then bend the right knee and then bring the right foot, sole the right foot to the floor. And we'll bridge up from here. So take the length of the arms along the mat, and then we'll bridge the hips up towards the sky. A little bit of core work here as well. Bridging up the hip bones, reaching towards the sky. Both glutes are activated, pressing through the foot, and then bring yourself back down to earth. Unwind your left leg. Inhale your right leg, your right knee towards your chest. Take the right ankle over the left thigh. Figure 4 on the other side. Reach for the left back of the left thigh and then activate both your feet. Checking in with your breath. Keep the face relaxed as well. We don't want the strain. If the face is straining, then your whole body's straining. So relax that. And then lift that left leg towards the sky if you want an extra hamstring extension here. Take the hands down that back thigh. Press into the hands and the vice versa. Decompressing the spine. Bend the left knee, bring the left foot to the floor, sole of the foot to the floor. And in this figure 4, we'll bridge up. So take those hip bones, face them both evenly towards the sky. See, they'll want to wobble side to side. Keep them nice and even. Take the arms to the floor and support that mid and upper back opening as your heart comes towards your chin. Inhale deep, exhale, allow the spine to snake itself back to earth. Unwind that right leg and just go long on the mat, arms above the head, reaching long and noticing any, take a tour of the body, noticing any changes that have happened, coming back to a full breath and a full in breath and out breath. Take both soles of the feet to the floor. And remember those eagle legs that we did standing up, we're gonna do the eagle legs in a twist. But if you have any knee alignment issues, I want you to just do a regular twist. So keeping the knees together. If you want to join me in the eagle, you're gonna take the right leg over the left. And then the left sole of the foot's gonna support you. And then we're gonna bridge up like we were, but come over onto our left side. And gently, that right knee is gonna land on the floor. So we've got the right knee on the floor and the knees crossed. Check in with your pelvis that it's perpendicular to the earth. Very nice. And then we'll take the hands together, the palms together. Now take your right hand to your amazing heart, beating strong, elbow to the sky. Turn the rib cage towards your right, keeping that pelvis centered and nice and 90 degrees. Then your shoulders, maybe you look over and expand into T arms, look over the right hand. Allow yourself to just melt into this pose through your breath. Each in-breath supporting your expansion and each out-breath supporting more release. Press through the left elbow, see if you can get this this twist a little more open. And then gently bring yourself back up and we'll do the opposite. So back onto the sacrum and then we'll take the left over right. Your right foot comes to the floor. Supported with that right foot, we'll bridge up and come over onto the right side. So you're gonna have your left knee gently on the floor, if that works for you. Otherwise, keep the knees together in a regular twist. And then you're gonna keep your right arm reaching out to the side, so T arms, or actually the arms together first. Then your left hand to your heart. Feel that rib cage turn, shoulders, neck, and head. If it's possible, opening up to T-arms, looking over your left hand. You can use your right elbow to help you more into a twist. This is helping the hip flexors open, and of course, adding fluidity to the entire spine and to your organs, adrenal system. Twists or just have a full body effect. And now gently come back up onto your back. Unwind your legs. Reach them long on the mat. Then take your hands, first shimmy your shoulders underneath you towards our resting pose. Take your hands to your mat and pull down towards your feet. And you'll feel the head reach towards the top of the mat, and then just release, and then the palms open towards the sky. Close the eyes and come into that internal place that we began with, the breath. Allow the breath to have a music in your ears, to be the music in your ears, the soothing, calming music, a wave sound. In breath. The pause is the crest of the wave, and the exhale, nice and long. You can also visualize the breath as positive winds. So bringing in a positive air and positive winds. Alchemy happening within the lungs and the whole body process, exhaling out what you don't need. So invite in those positive winds and exhaling out any negatives. The breath can be your path to inviting in what you need, exactly what you need, and exactly what you'd like to receive. The out breath, you're cleansing, you're cleaning out what you don't need. Just by moving through space today together, we've stirred up some positive energies and cleaned out some things we don't need in the body through that motion of those vital force centers. The breath is our guide, and coming back to it to seal the practice in will help you carry this through the rest of your day. One big deep breath, filling the body, expanding outward in all directions, absorbing it from everywhere, behind you, around you, and exhaling out, radiating a light from within. Gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can bend your knees and roll over onto your right side, away from the heart. A healthy path of blood flow through the body, inhaling and exhaling. Use your hands to help you up to a seated position. We'll bring the hands to the heart, thumbs in front of the heart. Push the palms together, feeling the strength, the midline, the guide for us moving forward. Thank you so much for sharing this practice with me today. Namaste. Thank you, everybody.